I guess even if you weren't thinking about statues, in 2020, everybody suddenly woke up to them in the midst of Black Lives Matter protests after George Floyd was murdered.
Hmm.
So much of the anti-racist, but also the racial supremacist
Hmm.
political contention at that time seemed to be happening around statues. They were sort of lightning rods for discontent in that moment. Um, I started thinking about statues in 2015 when Rhodes Must Fall erupted in South Africa.
Imperial power, which is the meat of your book, which is India, which is whatever they are, at least they want to position themselves at some kind of an imperial point, and their alliances are, of course, with the U.S. and Israel and so on and so forth. And then there is also the massive diaspora that does a whole bunch of damage. And within that, your intervention on race and caste is, of course, really, really appreciated. In India, we are seeing the reverse. We're seeing a frenzy around building statues, and the figures of Gandhi, Ambedkar, Vallabhbhai Patel are all kind of in this constant constellation, moving and shifting and volatile, resurrected, felled. And it's just like almost, you know, chaotic and confusing, but at the same time, it's like this one line of Hindutva and upper caste, Brahminical, nation building type of stuff going on too. So, can you say a little bit about this frenzy around building statues?
Mm. So, the statue wars in India, if we can use that phrase, have been going on for much longer, right? This is a
Yeah,
phenomenon that's been unfolding over
totally.
several decades. And it's a story that Kajri Jain tells very well in her book, Gods in the Time of Democracy, which I have tried to build on. Um, and she traces the origins of this phenomenon to the moment in the late 19th century when British colonial governmentality, through the census and through, very limited franchise that allows elections to provincial assemblies,
Hmm.
communities, Indian communities, become very conscious of themselves as communities, as Hindu, as Muslim, as Dalit, of the power of numbers and so forth. And one way, she argues, in which they express themselves as communities in the public domain is through the visual, through practices centered around icons.
Yeah.
Now, some of this has to do with temples in particular and religious icons, sometimes brought out in processions like Ganapati Utsav in Maharashtra or Durga Puja in West Bengal.